winner of the New Jersey Press Association's Most Innovative Award.
Welcome to another edition of Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Xie, bringing you the top headlines in Central New Jersey. Let's take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood. Encouraging women in government, the pending birthright bill, state campaign targets illegal dumping, rental rates rocket, and the aftermath of a school fire. Women need more seats at the political table. That is the message shared by females in all levels of government, from House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi to New Jersey Town Council members. While research shows women make government more transparent and inclusive, their progress in gaining high office has been slow. Females currently hold 19% of the seats in Congress, up from 14% a decade prior. And women fill 24% of seats in state legislatures, up only 2% from 2004. Here in New Jersey, female leaders say it is paramount to forge ahead and encourage women to lead. To find out more about the perspectives of female leaders in government, see this week's editions of Greater Media newspapers. And here's Mark Rosman with more headlines from this week's papers.
When the 2014-15 school year begins in September, students in the Freehold Borough K-8 school district will have a new look. The Board of Education recently approved a plan by which students will wear a uniform standard of dress. Parents, students, and staff members were surveyed recently, and a majority agreed that this was something they would like to pursue. The students will have their choice for tops, skirts, and slacks, and district administrators feel this will help lessen the distractions in class and improve student achievement. The students are looking forward to it, and so are parents. This will be coming up in September. You can read the full story in the news transcript.
A New Jersey senator is calling for hearings on flood insurance claims. Keith Miller has more.
Senator Robert Menendez has announced that he will hold Senate committee hearings into claims of lowball insurance settlements and other issues resulting from damage during Superstorm Sandy. The hearings, which will involve officials from FEMA and private industry insurance companies, were announced during the senator's tour of the storm-damaged community of North Middletown last week, along with Congressman Frank Pallone. The two congressmen have also sponsored legislation which was recently signed into law that will drastically scale back flood insurance rate increases for thousands of New Jersey homeowners in the years ahead. Standing alongside local officials and homeowners, Pallone also announced his own push to create a new flood insurance Bill of Rights, which clearly explains policy details to potential customers before they sign up. The story, along with input from some local storm victims, is featured in this week's Independent, Hub, Atlanticville, Sentinel, and Suburban newspapers.
And here's a roundup of headlines from this week's papers. A bill that would give adoptees access to their birth certificates is on the governor's desk once again. Chris Christie vetoed a previous version in 2011 and has until April 28th to make a decision. Following up on our coverage of the fire at James Monroe Elementary School, the affected students have settled in at Middlesex County College. Two buildings at the college are being used as a makeshift school, and the community has shown an outpouring of support. The Board of Education is now considering the option of installing sprinkler systems in school buildings. A new report states that New Jersey has the fifth highest rental rates in the nation. In Monmouth County, about 64% of renters cannot afford fair market rent for a two-bedroom apartment. The number of available apartments has dropped since Superstorm Sandy, as many people were displaced from their homes. However, rents have gone up due to increased demand. A new police director has been hired in Helmetta. Robert Manny was appointed last week, and this follows a string of allegations that were made by former members of the force, which raised questions about the integrity of the department. For more on these stories, see this week's editions of Greater Media newspapers. And here's Mike Pavlichko of Greater Media's WCTC with an update on Rutgers sports. After that, we have Tim Morris with more on local teams.
Well, the weather is warmer now, and it's baseball season. But I'm not thinking about that because I'm a lowly Mets fan. I'm thinking about Rutgers football spring practice, which is underway. And I'm also thinking about all the questions that Rutgers will have to answer, some of which will be answered in these couple of weeks. And the first thing, of course, as they get set for that inaugural Big Ten season and the first Big Ten game, September 13th in Piscataway against Penn State, the quarterback. Gary Nova, the senior, the only one who's thrown a collegiate pass in his career. He'll be challenged by Chris Laviano, Blake Rankin, and Mike Bamonte, as well as Devin Ray. Edge goes to Gary Nova on experience, but don't forget he was benched last 3 games of last year for Chase Dodd. and Dodd has now graduated. Also, they've got a new offensive coordinator, Ralph Friedgen, former head coach of Maryland, did a great job there with the Terps. Will he be able to get this offense going again? They'll have their backfield back and hopefully healthy. You've got Savon Huggins, you've got Paul James, and don't forget Janarian Grant, the electrifying freshman who had that kick return for a touchdown in the opening game against Fresno State. And the offensive line, this big X factor for me, Mitch Browning, the new offensive line coach. He came from Minnesota several years ago where he had great success in the Big Ten. Also, defense, another big question mark. They've got a new coach there as well. Joe Rossi, special teams coordinator, takes over for Dave Cohen. He did so, in fact, for the last game of the year in the bowl game. And the defense, which was awful last year, a lot of injuries, a lot of newcomers, brings to mind the old cliche. The bad news is everybody's back. The good news is everybody's back. They've got some experience, and they'll get also the benefit of another year in the weight room. A guy like Anthony Chaffee, I think he's going to be a solid player here at Rutgers. But you know what? As a true freshman, had no business body-wise being on the field last year. But hey, Rutgers was in a pickle, and they needed bodies. All questions Rutgers needs to answer this spring or maybe into the fall as they get set for that inaugural Big Ten season. First game September 13th against Penn State. I'm Mike Pavlichko on 1450 WCTC and WCTCAM.com.
Baseball isn't the only sport whose origins begin in America. Lacrosse, a sport played by Native Americans, goes back hundreds of years and was here when Europeans first visited the continent. Today, lacrosse has developed a following in Monmouth County and has become a popular high school sport for both boys and girls who enjoy the sheer speed of the game. On March 31st, Christian Brothers Academy in blue and Colts Neck white, two of the Shore Conference's best boys teams, opened the 2014 season in Colts Neck. It takes great eye-hand coordination to string together passes like this to create an offensive attack. While speed and teamwork are essentials to lacrosse, the sport can be very physical. It is far from a non-contact sport as you'll get. As you can see here, as bodies hit the ground as the team struggle to pick up a loose ball. Lacrosse is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, Blue! Let's go, Blue!
Of course, scoring is what it's all about. And there's no more satisfying feeling than the team effort it takes to put one in the cage and the celebration it sets off.
Let's go, boys! Here we go!
This is Tim Morris for Greater Media Newspapers.
Thinking of dumping your trash in a local park? Well, you might want to think again. Here's Kathy Chain with the details on a new DEP campaign to curb illegal dumping.
Those who dump garbage in parks or other state-owned lands are being warned, prepared to pay steep criminal and civil fines. The State Department of Environmental Protection has launched a campaign, Don't Waste Our Open Space, in an effort to deter the public from dumping material on state grounds. The campaign includes strategically deployed motion sensor cameras set up in select state parks and wildlife management areas to help nab violators. State Park Police and state conservation officers, in coordination with state police and local police departments, will commit additional resources to investigations of illegal dumping activities. The campaigns kicked off on March 27th with cleanup events at DNR Canal State Park in Franklin Township in Somerset and Brendan T. Burns State Forest in Woodland Township in Burlington County. The DEP officials said this is the state's first real push to crack down on illegal dumping, which they said has been a problem for decades.
Seabright is still rising even in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy. Here's Greg Hennelty.
After being displaced from her home by way of Superstorm Sandy, Seabright resident Desiree Pierce will be coming back to the borough within the year. Louisiana's St. Bernard Project, along with Seabright Rising and AmeriCorps volunteers, are rebuilding Pierce's home along with several others within the borough at no cost to homeowners. For more information, see your local Greater Media newspaper.
For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, see this week's editions of Greater Media newspapers. You can access our exclusive series, The Autism Puzzle and New Jersey Angle, in our paper and on our website. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook.com/Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Shea. Thanks for tuning in.